This time we are trying it again, this time with sound. Let's check the chat first to make sure we are live and you can actually hear me. This was super annoying. We had a failed approach here. So can you hear me? I'm not continuing before I get feedback, because we have to look at the market and we have to make sure everyone can hear me. Okay, let's try this again. We have a hot start of July coming up. It is unbelievably dangerous out there. No one knows what the market is going to do. We have a fear and greed index of 25, extreme fear coming up. The fear and greed index by CNN, you know how it works. It has 7 fear and greed indicators that together make up the fear and greed index. People are extremely afraid. We just crossed into extreme fear. You see that market momentum is fearful. You see that the stock price strength is fearful. You see that the stock price breadth is extreme fear and everyone's running for the exits. We see put and call options. Look at this stuff. It is nearly at 1. It's nearly at 0.9 put versus call options. Total extreme fear. We see market volatility. The VIX, as always, not fearful because the VIX doesn't even care. We see safe haven demand. People are running for the bonds. They want bonds, and bonds going up, of course. And the junk bond demand is horrible. Like, people don't want junk bonds. They want the real bonds, which means panic all over the place. And as Warren Buffett says, when others are fearful, then you have to be greedy. Or as we see here, as I say always, when they cry, we buy. So that is happening. And when we look at the market, let's zoom out. I do this all the time. You know my exercise. Since 2023, the NASDAQ is on a bull market run up. I think it's totally intact. The bull market is totally intact because it is based on massive growth of margins and profits across the United States. Based on the AI bull run, of course, people are making more and more money. When people make more and more money, their companies make more money. And when the companies make more money, the stock prices go up and there is no bubble. So very important to understand, this is not a bubble. AI is not a bubble. At least the stock market is not a bubble. Now, there are 2 types of bubbles. There's a bubble where the stock market disconnects from earnings. That's definitely not the case. But there's also another form of a bubble. And that is when there's overinvestment and overutilization of a new technology that is not visible in the stock market relative to earnings, because the earnings are going through the roof. And that's exactly what's happening right now here. The earnings are going through the roof, therefore there is no stock price bubble, but is there a demand bubble? Is it the case that people spend too much on tokens, enterprise token maxing? Is it the case that they're overspent on Anthropic, overspent maybe on OpenAI, overspent maybe on Grok, overspent maybe on Microsoft and all that kind of stuff? Therefore, these hyperscalers, therefore the frontier labs see demand going through the roof and overinvest, not because it's irrational to invest that much with that demand, but they're overestimating how long this demand can go on. That is the big question of the AI bubble. So the good news is it's already not a normal bubble. It's not a normal exuberation bubble. If it's a bubble, it's a more like grounded bubble where people just spend too much on their tokens. Now, my opinion is, yes, they might spend a little bit too much on the tokens, and yes, they might pull back a little bit because enterprise is really exhausted from all the AI spend. But at the same time, they're only so exhausted from the AI spend because the results are lagging. They're there, but they're lagging. And that will change when these models become even better. And the models become even better all the time. So yes, we are exuberant in terms of enterprise AI token spend, but the exuberance might get actually filled, right? The required delivery fill of value versus the exuberant demand might happen sooner than people think, because we see massive and continuous harness progress on the AI side. So I would not bet on a bubble, because even if it's a bubble, it's very likely a bubble that will last, that blows up, and the blow up lasts only 3 months or something. And then we see the next bubble. So it is not reliable. We might get a scare if enterprise signals that they spend less on AI or grow less their spend. But even then, no reason to be afraid. Now, let's go to First, do a little excursion into Iran. As always, we have to do the Iran excursion because stupid things are happening again. I will address it very quickly, what's going on here. On Friday, Iran attacked a ship. Who knows why? I don't even care. They shot like a ship. Then the US got mad, or whoever got mad, but the US started bombing a little bit Iran. Then Iran said, now we are bombing Kuwait and Bahrain, and bombed US stuff in Kuwait and Bahrain. And then Trump threatens, of course, annihilation as every Sunday. I think, again, means nothing. Let's see if the markets get a little nervous about it, but they didn't get nervous on Friday. And normally we have these weekend, little shuffles. Oil was under 70. So maybe we get another scare, but I think at this point the market is deeply inoculated against that kind of stupid thing. And I said 5 weeks ago, the war's over because Trump is totally scared of the oil prices. Everyone knows it. He cannot afford to escalate. So boom. That's why I was so sure this is over before anyone else was. Because when you look at everything, there were two types of people. People who are ignorant about it, it's like, no, it's not over, they're going to bomb it. And people who are not ignorant about it, who understood it would be the end of the world, but who still thought Trump had lost control and it's going to bomb them anyway, and then it's just the end of everything. And they believed the market were mispricing oil. I said, no, the market is not mispricing anything. The market knows there is simply no choice. It's simply not an option. And we all trust Trump to have basic control over the situation. I remain trustful on that front and think it's fake news again. So all in all, the bull market remains intact. That is my message. And when we go to Tesla, what does it mean for Tesla? I can't believe I did all this stuff like 20 minutes ago. But I will do it again for you guys. When we look at Tesla, yes, Tesla fell a lot. Here's the Tesla chart. We fell a lot in Q1. I said it's over. I bet on a huge recovery. Boom, the total killing here to May 14th. And then again to May 27th. But then I was wrong on betting on June being the breakthrough and all-time highs with Cybercab rollout. And that was definitely bad. So now we are totally down against massive progress with Cybercab, but not rollout of Cybercab. And we are now depressed down here at 379, completely ridiculous. So what is happening now? That is the big question. I think the stock market is very likely to continue its uptrend. It's climbing a wall of worry. It's climbing a extreme fear situation. So that is exactly the situation where the stock market would probably keep getting back on its trajectory. When you look at this, right, probably a few percentage points up, not unlikely to happen in July. And for Tesla, that means what? It means for Tesla, we are probably stabilizing down here and we are waiting for something big to happen. Now, is there anything big happening? And what about my Cybercab thesis? You saw this nice thing, the Cybercab shows up everywhere. And we have some news over the weekend again. One big news, well, not big news, but continuing news is Houston has now, I think, 84 Cybercabs. Look at this. See Austin, Houston, Dallas ramping up their parking lots with Cybercabs. Okay. And I don't want to repeat myself, but why are they doing this? Why are they doing this if they don't have a plan? Why are they just adding all these insane numbers of Cybercabs everywhere right now? This is nearly 100 Cybercabs just in Houston. Not to speak of hundreds sitting in the parking lot in Austin. And not to speak of the 50 in
music.
So this is happening everywhere. They are full on rolling these things out, but they're not deployed. So will they be deployed? Here is the next news that's very important. And I will go into this in a little bit more detail. Tesla actually announced that there's a first responder information for robotaxi now available. Now, what does it mean? Well, it means now the Cybercab is covered with first responder detailed PDFs and explanations what they can do when there is an accident. Why is Tesla putting this on the website? Why is Tesla making it available to first responders everywhere, including specific plans in Arizona that these are all legally required things, by the way. Why Tesla is doing it? Because if you actually start rolling out these cars autonomously in the United States, each state requires you to have a first responder interaction plan. Otherwise, you can't do these things. And that means something is going on. It means something is going on because Tesla is planning to actually deploying these things on the road. And when you look into the details of these plans, right? Appendix A, this is just the Arizona plan. This is a little boring, but let's go here. This is not boring. Look at this whole document. If you go into the PDF, information for first responders, first responder interaction plan, Tesla Cybercab. It is very detailed. It's huge. It's many, many pages, 30 pages. And it has all these nice contents, identification, recognition, autonomous response to incidents, autonomous activity, operational design domain. Look at this. They describe all these things. They have the QR code for the first responders, very operational. They explain how this thing looks like. They explain the cameras and the wheel covers. They explain the VIN. They explain the interior. And then they have all these things, how you access the car. They explain here, for example, they have this sheet. They have this sheet where they explain how where you can open this thing with your chainsaws or whatever you have as a first responder. So Tesla is very detailed, explaining if this thing gets stuck or submerged or burning and there are people inside. Here's how you use your chainsaw. For caution with the batteries here to get into the interior. These are very detailed plans that you only need if you're very serious and want to keep up with the regulations that are required to give to the first responders if you roll these things out. Let that sink in. Someone at Tesla said, hello Tesla, hello team, it is time to finalize all these documents, submit it to the government, and then put it on the website. Do it now on June 28th. Happy birthday, Elon, by the way. Today is Elon's birthday. They put it on the website. But why? If the only purpose to be on the website is for commercial operations. Okay, connect the dots. So am I saying June will be the month as I predicted where Cybercab rolls out? Well, we only have 2 days left. I don't know if it's June. But what I'm saying is the signs are getting so overwhelming that betting on Cybercab not rolling out very, very soon in the next couple of weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever, would be madness. I think now we can be sure something has to happen over the next weeks. Is it 8 weeks? Is it 6 weeks? Is it 4 weeks? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 1 week? Is it 2 days? I do not know. And as investors and also tactical traders around the core position, we have to be cautious. We can't bet the house and the farm on this happening in the next 8 weeks. But as a probabilistic optimizer here, it's just very likely that we see some movement very soon, very soon. So that is what I think about the whole situation. Let's go to the questions and see what you guys think. Let's find a nice little image to put on, maybe this one here, first responder. Let's go to the chat. What do you guys think? I hope this time the audio worked. Round 2, exactly. Hydration break, I wish. It's very hot here. Exactly. Oh, yes. I'm talking faster than normal, I know, because I just did the whole thing. Now, here, bubble. The midterm elections and the Save America Act not passed as the socialists capture the Democratic Party. Also, the Iran situation can go totally south. Also, Russia is now incentivized to disturb world order, at least in Europe. This is what Weak Force says here. So Weak Force has many concerns about the macro situation, midterm elections and the Save America Act not being passed. Socialists taking over in America. Iran situation can go totally south. Russia can go totally south. I agree that there is risk built in, but Iran, I don't think so. I think Iran is actually more under control than it seems. I think they have absolutely no choice. This has been completely thought through. And I do not think it can go south, yes, but I do not think there's a real risk here. On Russia, yeah, on the surface, it looks like this is very stupid and unhinged. But I don't know. It's very hard to see that this actually escalates because escalation would be so bad. I don't know. This is a whole different topic. The war is about religion. I disagree. Wars are never about religion. I think the war is about oil. I think the war is about regional control and hegemony. 420 in July. 420 in July. I mean, again, it's a total function of these stupid little cybercabs doing something. If they roll out, absolutely no problem. If they don't do anything, it's going to be tough. When I talk to certain people, possibly heavily invested in petrolifics and mention Tesla, they say to me as if I'm a trader. That's pretty funny. They're parking them until they have 500 at 30 or 50 locations. I'm not sure 500, 30, 50 locations. No, I think it's more like 500. It's more like 300 at 5 locations. Here, Billis says, with all the progress on Cybercab rollout preparation, I just cannot see Tesla stock not going up quite a bit over the course of Q3. Yes, exactly. That's what I think too. So Weak Force says, I don't care when they go live. It's enough to know that they will go live. And when they do, it will be hundreds, if not thousands. Well, it still matters when. We can still generate nice alpha if we time it sufficiently well. Historically, Austin 4 says, taxi service go into service after about 2 weeks of making the disclosure. Is that so? Austin 4? Are you just saying this, or do you know that? That would be interesting to know. Like, who can you provide us with any kind of additional information? Because that would be very interesting. Modude says, hi from Luxembourg. Hello to Luxembourg. Risky for covered calls next week. Definitely. I do not have covered calls. Did you see that? Cybercab would be on both sides and the back, so they would identify the cars in commercial use. Tyler says, I love your videos, man. I'm a retail investor with a family of 4 kids. Congratulations. I've been only investing since October and have almost 14 shares of Tesla. Do you have any advice? Now is the time to double down. That's what I think. It's a very good entry point. Marty Party says 400 Cybercabs about to hit the pavement. Well, I hope so. Jonathan says, because you trust Trump. Well, I trust Trump to actually be a rational actor, yes. Something weird is going on in Iran, obviously, but Trump is fully aware that this is all a giant problem. Chris says, not to agree, but do you still think Tesla can 1,000 US before end of the year. My guess is 5,000 robotaxi by December 26. Yes, I absolutely think, as I said, my share prices are pretty much a function of action of Cybercab. When I run the math, it's very simple that robotaxi is a giant, giant deal. I think 1,000 would overshoot, but we should not forget, look at SpaceX. Look at SpaceX. Like, if we see, my guess is still, if we see real deployment movement in Q3, we can hit 15,000 in December, 10 to 20,000. And if we see multiple thousands of robotaxis rolling out and have real momentum, absolutely, I think that stock can double from here and then overshoot. Yes. RPPN says no rally in July. You know why? The Nasdaq Tech AI heavyweights are now in free fall and rotation out of it. It has happened in last month. I disagree, RPPN. I disagree. There is a rotation out right now, but that rotation can be over any minute. X audio is always too loud. Okay. 250 Tesla launch on July 4th to commemorate the US birthday. Maybe, who knows? Marcelo says, well, I think the FUD will increase to a screaming crescendo as we hit peak oil and electric cars reach 10%. Maybe. Since Cybercab did not launch, will the expense of manufacturing cabs hit financial for Q2? No, it's pretty minute. If you add it all up, it's not that crazy as long as you don't really ramp up into tens of thousands. But if you everything below 1,000, you can do the math. Like if you have 1,000 and they cost 25,000 each, that's 25 million, right? Yeah. For 1,000, 25 is 25 million. No one even cares about that. Bogdan says nothing probably happens until everyone has lost hope. But the good news is everyone has lost hope. So that might be right now. What happened to the AV bill in Congress? I don't know what the latest there is, but we saw some movement there to actually get rid of the brake pedal requirements. What prevents them from releasing the Cybercab now? Well, they have to build up a little infrastructure. They have to do some more testing. It's not perfect yet. So it's just an incremental, detailed little improvement. I think that's what it is. It's nothing too exciting. It's just fine-tuning. Next stop will be Tesla Semi with FDS and fleet driving. Potentially. Yes, that is happening too. Could be much bigger than Cybertaxi. Yes, but this is probably going to take until next year before that actually happens. Do you think there's a chance we will be able to buy or own fleet of Cybercabs in the next year? No, I don't think so, because there's no reason for them to actually allow that, because Tesla makes much more money. Victor, we have Victor on the stream. Hello, Victor. Fluent German, I expected nothing less. Hi to LA. Reitzma says FSD. And we have nostalgic leftovers also here. Hi, Joe. Very good. Yeah, that is kind of what's happening here. It's very warm where I am. It's so hot. And I didn't have the audio. That was horrible. What else is going on here? Let's see the latest. I do have Elon Musk birthday news. Let's see. Elon's probably posting political stuff after totally boosting Citizen Vigilante, the most successful German movie ever, which is very funny. Happy birthday, Elon. This is all happening today. with you on semi, it will take a big share of trillion-dollar freight market, especially. Tagazaga, I don't have too much of a prediction for delivery numbers, but I do know that they should be pretty good, because we know from multiple sources that Europe is rebounding pretty strongly. And so generally, I think it will be a good quarter, which is another reason why the stock shouldn't be down so much. Greetings from Awatucky, Arizona. I know you hate TSLL, but with cyber and rollout imminent, what do you think of July 31 calls with strike price slightly out of the money? That's a very short-term call. I have August calls, end of August calls, like 21st August, at the money, not out of the money. It's at 380. That's what I have right now. Greetings. Yeah, Elon is waiting to be a politician at this point, 55 years old, is a turning point. I don't think so. He can have much more influence the way he does right now. Berlin is expanding from 5,000 to 7,500 per week of Model Y due to Europe demand. Exactly. Yes, that is one of the indications. So there are very big things happening. Tesla. Ming says also China looking very good. Tesla, by the way, delivery numbers. Tesla delivered this with all the Tesla analyst estimates. Q2 2026, 406,000 consensus. Median is 408,000, so this is average probably. So that is what the analysts think. That is what's happening in Pioneer Lands. We are working on the Pioneer Academy. This will be a major relaunch, by the way, but it's a lot of work. Let's see, but I'm very excited about it. Pioneer Lands is coming. Can't just talk about Tesla. We also have to talk about the global transformation that's happening and how we get prepared for this. You will hear much more very soon. We are working on it. It's a lot of work, but we will have a very good content library and explain the big narrative that we should better embrace very soon to re-understand what's actually happening and where we go from here. So I hope that will be interesting. I predicted in your comments of one of your videos before the IPO almost exactly what happened. You mean with SpaceX? Thank you for all. Yeah, thank you for all that you have been doing. I guess I will have to wait to buy a truck until Tesla stock rises to 495 to sell some shares. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't sell here. I would keep holding on. Pioneer Land needs Pioneer moderators. I know we need to improve that. Do you know if Germany and Europe have the same delivery issues that we had in the UK? My order is severely delayed. I haven't heard of that. Where do we need Pioneer moderators? Explain. You mean here or in our community? It's not easy to find moderators. But I'm building out a content library that goes way beyond just stocks. This is much more about bigger issues. Let's see how many people are interested in that. I hope a lot, because it's very important. For the merger, is the value of SpaceX to Tesla that matters more than just the price of Tesla? Yes. I think SpaceX is going down more. There will be lots of selling pressure coming in August. Here on the chat, we need moderators. Maybe I need to be the moderator. What can I even do? Can I click on people? I can't do too much. Well, we will see. Okie dokie. We have to wrap it up. Today was the first part where I didn't have audio. That was very exhausting. Let's see. Maybe check last time here what's going on on CNBC. Anything new 3 hours ago? Protein. What kind of BS is that? Saudi Aramco helicopter crash kills 14 nationals. That's sad. Venezuela, doesn't seem anything happening. Nothing happening. Everything green. Little Iran kerfuffle. Gus says we can volunteer. We will get more organized on pioneerlands.org. That's where the actions will be happening. Robert Gamma says, even my cousin who's a venture capitalist, I emailed him before predicting the initial rise when the drop, which is not done yet, predicted would go down to 10% below the initial IPO. Yeah, Robert Gamma, I totally agree. I think it can go down much more than that. Okay, guys, we wrap it up. And now, then we have a political video tomorrow. That will be important. Update on Germany. The AfD is taking over. September could be a crucial, fateful election in Germany that has enormous ripple effects, by the way. So tune in if you want to know more about that. Important to watch what's going on there. So let's stay tuned. I think we are ready to have a good July after this horrible June. And we will watch the world while it unfolds. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.